One, two, one, two, one, two. One.
Hey friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. And if this is your first time here, welcome. My name's Shandi. I'm a local real estate agent here at the DMV. And if you don't know what that stands for, that is literally DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And yeah, I love what I do. My job is just to help educate you, talk to you about life and like all the things about real estate. And even just maybe some random things. Who knows? We'll see how this goes. But today's episode, I wanted to break down the home buying process and what it looks like for you as a first-time home buyer or a repeat buyer from start to finish, pre-financing to the day that you get your keys. So if you're a note taker, grab your notes, open up your note app in the phone, and yeah, let's lock in. Step one is the pre-approval, okay? So before you start searching, before you begin looking for homes and all of that fun stuff, you need to know what your purchase power is. You need to know how much you can afford and what your cap is. So a lot of agents will request that you do get your pre-approval. And I mean, there are some sellers who don't even let buyers into their home unless they can see that pre-approval letter. So for your peace of mind, for just to make the process smoother, and just so you're not wasting your own time, get a pre-approval and see how much you can afford, see exactly what your range is, and move forward. Now, to get a pre-approval, you either need to speak with a lender or a bank. There are a lot of real estate agents. I'm one of them. I tend to stay away from banks. They're just a little systematic, right? You need a lending partner that you have a good relationship with, one that can really manually take a look and do a deep dive, right, into your file and see exactly, what's your debt to income ratio, what can you afford, what's your income, what do your W-2 looks like, what your past two W-2s look like, all those fun details, right? And so having a lender who will be a little bit more hands-on and thorough is more ideal. And also, they don't close at 5 o'clock at night, right? If you have a question or say we're putting in an offer and we need to figure out a few details, there's no cutoff time. You can literally, when you have a good relationship with lender, you can literally call them at any time. So yes, step one, get that pre-approval, figure out what your purchase power is, what you can afford, and start from there. Also, just another side note on why pre-approvals are so important. Look at this, for example, right? Let's say we have a buyer named Sally and a buyer named Sarah, okay? Sarah has her pre-approval done, Sally does not. And they both decide to go to an open house on Saturday at 1 o'clock at 123 Main Street. They both check it out. They both like it. They both love it. They said, this is it. It checks off all of our boxes. Sarah, who has the pre-approval, can literally call her agent and say, hey, agent, put the offer in. Sally, who doesn't have a pre-approval, if she hasn't found a lender already, has to find a lender, fill out an application, find and upload all her paperwork, wait for processing time, and then depending on if there are any other details that are needed, wait to receive the pre-approval letter and send it off to her agent. Or it could be sent to her agent from the lender, depending if they already know each other, right? So that takes a little bit more time, which, I mean, long story short, by the time that Sally it's getting ready to draft her offer and send it off to the seller has already reviewed Sarah's offer. And if the seller likes Sarah's offer and the terms look good and it looks great, I'm telling you this now, the seller is going to get under contract with Sarah's offer, which means Sally missed out on a home, all because she didn't have her pre-approval done. So I say this to say, get the pre-approval done because it saves you so much more time, okay? And you don't want to miss out on a home if you're literally trying to do part A to get the home. Get that out the way. Get that out the way and just start searching. So again, when you're ready to put in an offer, you can go like this. And an offer does require, most of the time, it does require you to have a pre-approval letter included. So the seller does have to see exactly if you're pre-approved, if you're qualified. So either way, it has to get done, right? Just do it early, get it out the way, start properly searching, and then just be prepared to put in that offer. So yeah. Step number 2 is find an agent that you know, like, and trust. There are a lot of real estate agents that are out here. There are a lot of new real estate agents that, get into the industry. And if you're one of them, I hope that you are watching this video and I hope that you take heed to what I'm saying, right? Negotiation is power, okay? You need to find an agent who will advocate for you, who will literally asks you the right questions to get your brain thinking and moving. If you find yourself walking over your agent or you're having more control over the conversation, chances are when it comes down to negotiations, they're going to let the other party walk over them as well, right? You have got to work with someone who is firm, who is solid, who is respectful, loyal, and who also knows what they're doing. So again, this doesn't have to be someone who's just like a robot, right? No, someone you know, like, and trust. So get on, if it's social media, get on social media. If you have friends that are homeowners, ask them, hey, who is your agent? Who did you work with? How was the experience? Ask them questions, get in their head. And if you don't have one and you're looking for one and you're in the DMV area, you can use me. I also do have a lot of referral partners all throughout the US. So if that's something, if you're in another state watching this as well, we can chit chat, just message me. But I'm saying all this to say, you need to find someone that you know, like, and trust so you can begin that search process and have the right type of advocate for you. Because again, this is not just about, hey, can we buy a home? No, we need some closing cost. We need to make sure that inspection is done great. We need to make sure that things are in line, that we're meeting all the deadlines. We're literally holding an entire contract together. If you miss a day, if you miss a deadline, you can follow the contract. And there's money involved. We don't want to go through that mess. We don't want to go through that motion. So yeah, work with someone responsible, work with someone that you know, like, and trust. And if you don't have anyone, you're more than welcome to reach out to me. But yeah, step 2, find an agent. And also sometimes step 1 and step 2 are kind of hand in hand. Sometimes people know agents and they don't necessarily know a lender. So if you know an agent, ask them for a lending referral. Ask them for, and most of the time, all agents do usually have lending partners that they work with. So ask that agent, hey, I'm ready to get pre-approved. Can you connect me with your lending partner so I can get that going? And they'll be happy to do that, I'm sure. So yes, step number 2, find your agent. Step number 3 is the home search / putting in an offer. Now, when you begin your home search, right, you and your agent are going to have that conversation of what you're looking for, your non-negotiables, how many areas, what style of the home. Let me tell you this up front, okay? When you're buying a home, most of the time, I want you to think about a pie, okay? It has 3 parts, just a big pie cut into 3 parts. Part 1 is the price. Part 2 is the location. Part 3 is the style. 9 out of 10 times, one of these is going to give, right? One slice is going to be a little bit bigger than the other. You're going to have to budget a little bit, whether it's the price, the location, or the style of the home. There's no such thing as a perfect home, but there is a home that will fit you. You just have to understand what that looks like for you and then move forward. Now, during your home search, most of my clients, to be honest, they see anywhere from about 5 to 10 homes before they're ready to put in an offer. I know sometimes there have been some stories in some cases where people have been searching for such a long time. That's because there probably were no expectancies set at the front. And also they probably just don't know what they want. So think hard and long about what it is that you want, what it is that's a non-negotiable, and what it is that you're willing to negotiate. And understand that, keep that pie in mind. Understand that 9 out of 10 times, either the price is going to have to give, the location is going to have to give, or the style of the home is going to have to give. There has to be some flexibility somewhere, because real estate, again, it's not about perfect. Right? It's not about perfectionism, about finding the dream home. If you're just getting into real estate and you're just starting your home buying journey, real estate is like chess. How you first move the pawn. Well, I know some people, they may move other pieces here and there, but typically, right, a lot of people move the pawn first. That first step is your first purchase, right? You just want to get your foot in the door and then use that, leverage it for your next property, leverage it for your assets, for your income, for your wealth, for your finances, and just go from there. So during your home search, right, you'll be looking for some homes. You'll figure out what you like, what you don't like. And then hopefully within about a 5 home to 10 home range, you'll be putting in an offer. I've had cases where I've literally put in an offer for the first home my client and I saw on several different occasions. And, it doesn't take too many homes before, if you're working with the right agent now, it doesn't take too many homes for you to find until you're really like, okay, I'm going to put in an offer on this. So step number 3, home search / offer. When you find that home that you do like, put in that offer. You and your agent will talk about what terms to include, which means how long is it going to take to close, or what is your closing date? They're going to confirm, okay, are you going to do FHA? Are you going to do conventional, right? Which are financial tools and resources that help establish your mortgage, that help, help with financing. So if you don't know what that is, we can do another episode on finances and, what financial resources are available for purchasing a home. Just a little summary. You have FHA, you have conventional, you have FHA, most home buyers, first time home buyers do use, but you also do have conventional. You do have USDA, which is more for like farm-like properties, those rural areas. You do have VA if you're a veteran, or if you're in the service in the military. And then, there are other loans out there when you get more deeper into the investment side. Again, this is more of like a first time home buyer or a repeat home buyer video. So I'm not going to include all those, but it's such a long list. But those are just a couple of the financial resources. So yes, once you put in that offer, you are going to wait for the seller to either counter the offer, to accept the offer, or to deny the offer. Now, in good faith, if they accept the offer or they counter the offer and you accept it, that will bring us to step number 4, the earnest money deposit. Now, the earnest money deposit is also known as the EMD. It's pretty much a seed of good faith saying, hey, seller, I really love your home. I want to purchase it. And so for that, I'm going to give you at least 1% of the house up front. And so, if you're buying a $300,000 home, 1% is about $3,000. So you would give them an EMD of 3%. Now, you don't have to do this, but it is highly, highly, highly suggested. And it strengthens your offer. So if you know, hey, I need to have a strong offer because there are a lot of people looking at this home, 9.5 out of 10 times, you're probably going to want to put an EMD down with it. So earnest money deposit, that is step number 4. And that's usually due within the first couple of days. Some places, depending again on the terms of your offer, it would be a 24-hour period. Some places are a 2-day period, or, some contracts. Not places, but some contracts will require a 2 to 3 day period. It's again, literally just depends on the terms of your contract, and your agent will help walk you through that. But the EMD, keep that in mind. That is the first time that you will be putting money down, and typically it is 1% of the purchase price. Step number 5, for your protection, get a home inspection. Okay, guys. So after you submit the earnest money deposit, depending on the terms of your contract, you and your realtor will decide that, you'd be then getting a home inspection. So this will pretty much just tell you what the bare bones of the property look like. Are there any work to be expected in the near future? And just to kind of give you like a heads up on, okay, what's the status of the home? If something comes back on the inspection report, you can then ask the seller to give you some credits, to give you some money, or you can ask them to fix it. It's totally up to you. And if nothing comes back, and here's the thing, the reality is there's always going to be something, right? You want to look for major red flags. You don't want to look for there's a little bit of wood popping up, or like just something very simple. Every home inspection report is going to be about this thick. Okay. What it is, okay? You're literally getting a review on the entire home, so expect a lot. But just because you see a lot doesn't mean that there's a lot wrong with the home. It's just it's a report, so just keep that in mind. But if things come back and it looks like, okay, this is going to be a problem, or you're going to have to chalk up thousands in the next 12 to 24 months, then at that point in time, okay, let's look at alternatives. Do we need to request some funds from the seller so they can help you take care of that, when the time comes, and, just put that towards the home now? Or do you want to ask them to go ahead and fix it, and that way you don't have to worry about it at all? You have some options. Worst case scenario, if you decide that the issue is way, way too big and it's going to cost you, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and it's going to keep you up at night, and it's just not worth the hassle, you can back out of the contract. You can get your earnest money deposit back, and you can back out of the contract. But your 5th step is to get an inspection. Again, you can waive it, but as a first-time home buyer, I believe FHA, conventional, even being VA, like there are certain terms that will kind of say, hey, this is kind of needed, so get that inspection. Very, very important step 5. It's a home inspection. Make sure that you get it done, thoroughly check it out, review it, go through all the the sections with your agent and really determine, okay, is this house ready to move forward with? Is there, are we going to request some funds? Are we going to request that the seller helps us fix whatever's wrong? Or are we good to go? Which a lot of times is the case. So step number 5, home inspection. That brings us to step number 6, which is the appraisal. The appraisal is done by a third party through the lender that pretty much determines what the value of the home is. So if you're purchasing a $300,000 home and it comes in at value, which means it appraises for $300,000, you are good to go. Things are looking good. Let's move forward. If it comes in higher, even better. You're getting some equity in the property. Who wouldn't want the home to appraise higher? That's better for you as a buyer, especially as a buyer. And here is where if it comes in lower, right, you'll need to come up with that difference, okay? Because if you're going FHA or you're going conventional, whatever you're using as your finance tool, the lender will only provide the amount that the home gets appraised for. So if you get appraised for $290,000, that means if the home is $300,000, you have to be responsible for that $10,000 difference. If you have it, then okay. If you don't, now here's where your agent comes into play. I've had this case happen before, and I've literally had to run comps or bring forth the comps that I had already had on the side and bring it to the appraiser in the most respectful way and just say, hey, these are the comparables that I had. There was also a time where I had an appraisal done and they didn't include the parking lot that came with the property. And so the appraiser was like, oh, no problem at all. Let me include that. And so as an agent, your job is just to make sure everyone is, on top of their stuff, and just to make sure that your buyer is most supported, and that you're being supported right by your agent. And so, so if the appraiser, long story short, if it needs to be appraised again, say that your agent looks and sees that there are comps that do support a $300,000 purchase, your agent would just draft that up, send it over to the appraiser, ask them if they'd be willing to reconsider it. And if not, well, at that point in time, you need to decide, is this a house that I want to move forward with? Do I like it that much? Do I have that $10,000 to bring forward? Or do I need to have a conversation with the seller and see if they're willing to bring it down? Because, that's an option. So number 6, the appraisal. That brings us to number 7, the final walkthrough. Now, the final walkthrough, up until then, you and your lender will be working together to finalize your mortgage, your payments, what you're bringing to closing, all those numbers and those pretty details. And then your realtor and you will schedule a final walkthrough to go into the property and assess it one last time before you do move in and get the keys. It's usually done like super, super close to closing. But if you did request that the seller do fix, certain things, or you had put in a request, at that point in time, you'll go and check to make sure that it's been done and that, it's ready to move in. That most of all, that it's in the state that you first saw it when you quote unquote fell in love with it, or you realized like this was your home. So number 7 is a final walkthrough. That brings us to closing. Congratulations, you have made it to the closing table, which means get ready to sign. You'll be signing for a while. It'll probably be maybe like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, just depends. But you'll be signing a thick pack of papers. The title agent typically will facilitate this, and so they will transfer the home, the status of the home from the seller to you, the buyer, and you'll get the keys to your brand new home, and that is it. So congratulations, you have made it this far. This is the entire home buying process. I hope it was digestible enough for you. And just another key note as well, you got to think about purchasing a home like driving from destination A to destination B. And as you're driving, you are the driver. Your realtor is the GPS. Your lender is the windshield wipers. And the title company are your wheels, right? And so each role, right? We are on your team. We play a role to get you to the finish line. Our job is just to make sure we get you there effortlessly and seamlessly as possible. For the most part, those are your 3 key players when it comes to purchasing a home: your real estate agent, your lender, and your title agent. So I hope this was helpful. Please subscribe. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up. Again, please feel free to follow me on social media. Send me a message. Let me know what video you came across and tell me a little bit about yourself, and I'll follow you back. Would love to be your friend. I hope this was super helpful, and I'll see you back next time.
one, one, one.